he's talking about in the red zone. We've all seen it when Josh is running around.
Mm-hmm.
If 40-yard dash time does not matter, when Josh is
Correct.
running around, you're trying to find the spot and go up and get the ball.
All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus podcast presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, I am Jenna Cottrell. Dan Fates with a veteran night off after a very long day 1 and day 2 of the draft. Day 2 just wrapping up. But hey, Mike, the Bills drafted players, so there's that.
Yesterday was frustrating, and probably we did a little too much, I don't know, analysis of what Brandon Beane had done. When I say that, I'm going to say maybe not analysis the right word. Maybe it's just flat out criticism of some of the things that he had done. Because you sat there the whole time and thought, come on, he can't come up with anybody or move up to get somebody in the round. And then you look at it and you go, okay, take it back a little bit. Go into 2 full days of a draft. Not so bad.
Not so bad. I think I still will say with my chest that I don't love trading with Kansas City. I still feel that way. I know some people are like, look, and Brandon Beane said this yesterday. He said, hey, like the Chiefs, they were going to get their guy because they were trading up all this stuff. They offered us the best deal. I hear that and I understand, but that says to me one thing, that A, the Chiefs were trying to trade up because they thought someone else was going to take their guy. So I think also Beane mentioned the fact that there were other deals that were offered for trading back. So I just don't love it. I feel like you're trying to overcome the team that has ended your season 4 out of the last 5 seasons, and the talent that, look, Xavier Worthy might be really fast, but he also might be injury prone. So there's that. And also, you know how narratives work, Mike. And if it's a big game and a playoff game and Xavier Worthy scores a touchdown, the first thing mentioned is not going to be, well, the Bills traded back because they didn't like their board. The first thing is going to be, here's a guy who was traded. The Bills traded with him. The Chiefs wanted to go get their dude. It's just.
Was that your Chris Collinsworth impression?
Yeah. Whenever anyone says, here's a guy, it's just
okay,
automatically.
So
also, we're recording this at what time?
Yeah, it's like
on Friday.
I don't know, midnight.
Midnight, yeah.
Okay, here's what I wanted to say about the what they ended up doing is the narrative was, and we're not going to talk too long on this because we're going to move into what they did.
I'm sorry.
The narrative is, well, the Chiefs would have gotten their guy anyhow. Okay. Let me ask you this. If the Chiefs were so confident they were going to get Worthy, why were they calling the Bills to trade up?
I agree.
Like they were concerned that he was going to go somewhere. And in all likelihood, they figured the Bills were not taking him. So they wanted to get ahead of the Cowboys or the Niners. Look, it might have been all nonsense, and maybe they would have gotten their guy. But the Bills traded with him. So again, they'll be tied. Look, here's what the Bills hope. They hope Worthy's no good, and they hope that Keon Coleman is really good for them.
Yeah.
They didn't wait that long to get him. It's only 5 picks back from where they were. It just seemed like forever until they got there.
It was just all the waiting that you had to do and the time that you're thinking about of, wow, they still don't have a wide receiver. And I'm not going to lie, at first when it was like, all right, we got some intel that it was going to be Coleman. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Obviously, he's a big guy, strong, physical. You talk about the jump ball capacity. He played basketball at a very high level, played at Michigan State before he transferred to FSU. Brandon Beane talked about his above the rim ability, which I just love. Like, he's a hooper.
Yes.
I just think that's funny. But I was kind of like, there were questions about his speed and would he be fast enough? And would that lack of separation really be an issue, especially as he takes his jump to the NFL? So I was kind of out on it. And then Dan tweeted it out because Dan Orlovsky tweeted that he loved the pick for the Bills. And I'm not going to lie, hearing him say that, I'm like, dude knows ball. I appreciate it. And then also talking to Keon Coleman, the Bills, he had a Zoom with him, and just he has that kind of, Brandon Beane said bravado.
Oh,
bravado.
Yeah. That's an old
Keon
school.
Coleman.
That's an old school.
It is, but I loved it and I could see it. And I just thought that's a guy that is classified to me as a dog.
Yeah.
And the Bills need dogs. I
Well,
also need a dog, Zach. I want a
oh,
dog.
okay. We're talking different dogs. There's
Golden
all
retriever.
kinds of
I was gonna
dogs.
say I would like a golden
Golden
retriever.
retriever. He's a dog in a good sense. We're not talking about a dog in a bad
No,
sense.
no,
So
no.
here's what we're saying though about the speed thing, because you want big, you want fast, okay. You want a Dunze.
Yeah,
Okay, he went in the top 10. So
a little different.
he's gone. Um, I want you to say what happened when you asked Keon Coleman about the speed.
Well, hat tip. It was a great question by you, and I was just the
I
conduit.
fed it to her
Yeah,
like in some of the old movies where it's like,
we're
you
getting
press
word
the
from our
button.
producer. No,
What did I say to ask him?
you said to ask him. Essentially, there's so much talk about his ability to be contested catch
Yeah.
guy, all those things, but a lot of people that have doubts about his speed, what does he say to those people? And I thought his answer was pretty good. It showed off some of that bravado as
Yes.
well, saying like, "Well, I've never been caught
Yeah.
from behind." And he went on to say that, "Look, I've never been called that by guys on the field." And I think it showed some of that confidence that he has, and we'll see if it translates to the NFL level, but I did like the confidence that he had, and I think he's someone who really like, looking at his tape, some of those catches he makes are incredibly impressive.
Yeah, look, he is known for the contested catches. If you haven't seen some of the highlights, not a contested catch. Look at the one he made against poor Syracuse,
I know.
your alma mater.
I
I mean,
know.
he just went up
Yeah.
and just took the ball. And there have been players, Orlovsky compared him. Again, these are comps. These are like you play like the guy, not like you're the guy. Compared him to Brandon Marshall,
Mhm.
where he said, not going to run by everybody, but he's going to make plays. And Bean talked about where they would like to use him. I mean, use him all over the field. He can line up on the outside. Jenna, they don't have guys to line up on the outside. Not really.
Yeah.
And they need that. But you line him up out there. But he's talking about in the red zone. We've all seen it. When Josh is running around,
Mhm.
if 40-yard dash time does not matter, when Josh is
Correct.
running around, you're trying to find the spot and go up and get the ball.
You are taller, more physical, stronger,
Yeah.
all those things matter.
Yeah. So look, he's got a long way. He's got to come in. He's got to learn what they want to do. He's got to prove he can be out there right away.
Mhm.
But I would say talent wise, I don't know how much difference there is. I liked Brian Thomas. I don't know where the talent level changes. This is where, as the general manager, he's got to sit there and say, is it worth it for me to give up extra assets to get this guy, or do I wait? The interesting thing to me, Jenna, is that he really wanted him. You heard Bean.
Yeah.
Like, he really wanted Coleman.
I see, a part of me is like,
No,
he
I'm
had
saying
the whole day to talk himself into it.
a little bit, but I'm saying, Liz, like, he was focused on that guy. I think he believed other people might have had him ranked a little lower, and nobody was going to take him. Though, again, Leggett was ranked lower, but the Panthers wanted him.
Mhm.
Worthy in a lot of places was ranked lower, and they wanted him. And maybe you just had him. And you're right. You do have that whole night to sit there. By the way, I'm a little uncomfortable here. I don't know if this spot. Maybe
That's Dan's spot.
it's the Dan spot,
Also,
and I'm wearing a jacket because I just got done the sports cast. So, and it's just the way it was.
well, I will say, if you're like, "Oh, the shot kinda looks weird." Yeah, I set it up. So it probably looks weird.
Yeah, it's more like I gotta go
And
this way.
Mike it's midnight.
Yeah,
I went to bed at 4 a.m.
yeah, it's
yesterday.
brutal.
I mean, I wouldn't call it brutal, but it's just
The day
it's a
yesterday
long
was brutal.
stretch. It's a long stretch,
I'm
but that's
giving you
okay.
the.
I know.
I
I
didn't
just
say you were out digging ditches. I
I
said it was a
know, I
long night.
know.
You're coming back from
It
Buffalo,
yes.
going back up there today. How was it hanging with the whole crew today in Buffalo?
It was
Again?
good. So we got Mr. Sizzle in Buffalo. It's
Yeah.
like a burger fried chicken place. They have sliders that are enormous, and I had 3. They were really good, not gonna
Yeah.
lie. Like, very impressed.
And yesterday, what'd they have for you
They had
yesterday?
mulberries. They had Italian food.
Oh.
Yeah, I ate when you put the salad on your plate, you're like, Never, never gonna happen."
It looks good when you're walking back to the
Yes,
table.
you're like, "Oh, she has vegetables." And you just never touch them.
All right.
The meatballs are like this, they're huge, yeah.
When I say Bean liked him, I think he liked the traits, and I think he thought I was just skipping past the food because I'm kind of hungry now. But the idea of saying, all right, I'm going to go for this level of player. I do like that. I think he has physical traits that are above and beyond some of the other guys around there.
Mhm.
And that includes Worthy. Worthy's trait is the 180-degree difference in the judging of these guys. Worthy is a total speed guy. That's who he is. He is incredibly fast.
He's exceptional speed. I do worry about how light he is.
He is. And contested,
165
well,
pounds?
and contested, all those things. That's
Yeah,
not who he is. You're going to use
he's a
him
burner,
differently.
yeah.
If you got him on your team, you're going to use him differently. So that's why I say, like, it's just the way this works out. We don't know how all these guys are going to go. And they did. Look, they needed a receiver. They got a receiver. I think they're still going to take another one.
I actually thought they would do that tonight, but in the second round, their later pick,
Okay.
they decided to take, safety, Cole
Yep.
Bishop out
All
of
right.
Utah.
I want your
Very good
impression.
friends. Very good friends with Dalton Kincaid. No, it was just I'm laughing because he said "shoot" a couple times, like, "Oh, shoot," like, you
His
if you're
name is
if you're friendly on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel, like, we're never gonna say "shoot." We're gonna say the other SH blank T
Cole
word.
Bishop is a character in a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
Much like you to
He
meet Cole
kinda looks
Bishop.
like Zach Wilson.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'm crazy, but I can kinda see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, safety, I'm sure McDermott, the coaching up of him.
I was reading some of our friend Chris Trapasso's analysis of Bishop, and the things were really interesting, talking about um, directing the defense a lot of times where he played. He is bigger. He's
Mhm.
6'2",
Yeah.
207, but he has short arms. Well,
No, I know that
that's a
matters.
coverage.
Yeah.
It's a coverage thing.
Yeah.
It's a coverage thing about where he lines up. But I got to tell you, people around the league, at least some of the people I was looking at, were like, this is a guy who will get after it with tight ends, play the tight end position.
Yes.
There's a couple of those players that the Bills have to worry about. And look, it's the end of Poyer and Hyde. It
It
is.
is. Also, Bishop does offer a lot of versatility where you wanna line him up. He played free safety, he played strong safety, he played special teams a lot, and he did mention, though, I thought this was a nice little hat tip. He said, "I've gotten a lot better at covering tight ends because going up against Dalton Kincaid
Yeah.
for my first 2 years in college certainly helped."
He also, I believe, not necessarily a linebacker position, but this is, I mean, he's
Yeah.
209. I don't know specifically what Terrell Bernard plays at. I don't know what the number
Oh,
is.
he said it. I think he said 225.
Right. So 225,
Yeah.
210, 225. I'm saying is it's just where that world has collided in terms of linebackers used to be much bigger than safeties. This is a bigger safety, some smaller linebackers. I think he's a good tackler. He's around the ball. I think he's got a lot of those traits. He just seems like a guy McDermott's going to love.
Yeah, definitely a strong tackler. And he's one of those leaders, character guys. We know Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane preached the culture so much. They made some moves this offseason to kind of, separate from some of the leaders on this team. So I think for this group, they always have an emphasis on leadership and things like that. But I think that's once again a reason why they have that focus.
So let me ask you what your thought is, at least initially. We haven't seen this guy at all. He's coming in there, but he's a high draft pick for him. I
Mhm.
mean, you're taking him 60th pick, second round. Um, Mike Edwards is in,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And they brought back
Rap.
Taylor Rapp. I think this seems to be a guy. Well, first of all, this kind of guy is obviously going to play special teams, and we know they always say that. I'm talking about for the defense. I think it's a role. I also think, again, this is just me talking before we talk real. I think that big nickel position sometimes too. I think he fits there
Yeah. I could see that.
and putting him in different places on the field. So I think he at least position physically comes up as one of those guys with the ability to get him on the field. I guess this is my point that I wasn't making clearly. Get him on the field before you say, "Oh, he's our starter." Like, they will
Yeah.
find a way to get this guy on the field.
I think he's that much of an athlete and he does have that versatility. I think it will be challenging to learn McDermott's playbook and all that stuff, especially if you have, multiple positions or multiple spots. But again, he's one of those players that, that's what you expect. Get him in, get him into the system, all that stuff, and see how he comes along. But they needed
Yeah,
safety,
and I
and
like
they got
second
that.
round. I like second round for safeties. I think, it was the other kid, Guyton. I think, did he go to the Jets? I should remember that. But he was a safety that was, Newbin. Tyler Newbin?
Oh, Newbin?
Yeah. Hello, Newbin.
Oh
Uh,
my god, you
I
are
think,
embarrassing.
and
Giants.
Giants, that's right. And I like Kinchins, the guy out of Florida.
Yeah.
Florida, Miami. He just
Well, he's
went
out of
late.
Florida.
Yes, that is true. He just went late. So,
Okay, well, talking about late
yeah,
for the Bills.
DeWayne Carter,
Yeah.
Duke.
I'm pretty Duke, yes.
Yeah.
He was a captain for 4 years straight.
Yeah, he was there for 5 years. He must have redshirted.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you said he was defensive tackle, start
3 technique
yeah.
guy. People would think he'd be like in an Ed Oliver mode,
Yeah.
back up to Ed. Yeah.
Learn from Ed, go from
Look,
there.
I guess when I looked at the draft and you looked at it, you'd say glaring needs of positions. With all due respect to Brandon Beane, who said they did not have a glaring need at wide receiver, but they did.
Yeah.
They still can get another receiver.
They still can?
I
They
think they
still
will.
need.
Yes, they need. I would say wide receiver, safety, defensive line.
Yeah.
So at least positionally, that's the 3 they took.
Makes sense.
And I always laugh when I listen to draft coverage and they'll say, they filled 3 needs. No, you brought in players to potentially fill those needs. But, it's just said like, in the NFL network way of everything is like a great pick and this is what the hope is.
Yeah.
They addressed the need.
Correct. And you're going to hear Dan say a lot. People love picks. People don't always love players.
Yeah.
Because it's true when you talk about the deal with the Chiefs to get more picks for them to trade up. You love the idea of the pick, but some third rounders are Cody Ford.
Right.
It's not always just because a pick is a good pick
So
doesn't mean it will be.
they drafted DeWayne Carter with that pick.
Mhm. So we'll see.
Right. You hope he's good.
Absolutely.
Right.
The hope is definitely that
Yeah.
you see the ceiling and the upside and all that stuff. But realistically, every team has players that just don't pan out how you expected. And then to counteract that, some teams get really lucky and find a guy later on. I saw someone the other day. I'm gonna get triggered. I can't.
Here we go.
No, I just saw some the other day that was like Stephon Diggs was a 5th round pick. Puka Nacua was a late round pick. Like you can get really talented wide receivers in late rounds. You can. But those guys are the exception, and there's a reason why
Yeah.
they're not upper round talent. It's just how it works.
I have spent such an inordinate amount of time looking at receivers over the years and how they were drafted.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at them and I'm saying to myself, oh my God, I don't even remember that guy's name. I don't remember him being anywhere. And you're looking at guys taken sometimes in the 2nd, 3rd round. It just didn't work out. But other guys taken in the 5th round, 6th round, 7th. They're nobody. We forget about all those.
Mhm.
It's like, wow.
Well,
you can get Tom Brady in the 6th round.
Why did how many quarterbacks went in the 1st round? Why worry about that? Just draft him in the 6th round.
Because Tom Brady was in the 6th round. Stephon Diggs
Okay, I'm turning into Dan. I'm becoming the heel.
You should be in this uncomfortable. This is why
also,
Dan is so cranky.
I feel like you need to move over because the camera is like when you take the one shot, it looks.
I said that to you before, and you told me to keep moving right. It's like with the little kid where he's like,
but you kept moving like you. You got to go that way.
I'm all the way over
no,
here.
You're not. You've moved, so you cover up the yours.
How's that?
See what I deal with.
I should be like here. right?
Yeah, that looks better. Now
Oh,
but now the 2 shot looks hilarious 'cause looks like we don't like each other.
well, right now, that's the case, damn it.
Okay, let's talk about day 3.
All right, yeah, and what they're gonna do.
They have
Look,
4 5th-round picks. 4 I said that right, yeah. 4 5th-round picks.
and I told you that
Reckless.
a lot of people were looking at the way the draft was
You
going.
already moved over.
I was trying to
You
get
already moved over. Oh my god.
you have the nice center posi see, am I all right here?
Yes, but I want you to know you already moved over.
Um,
Sorry, I know we're loopy.
I I was
It's
reading some
great
people saying
podcasting.
it looks like the value is in the 4th round. So I don't know if the Bills will try to trade up at all. Um, there's still wide receivers out there. You know what? I apologize for this. I didn't see at the end because we were doing the newscast and getting ready to come in here. I didn't see, and maybe I'm wrong. I didn't see if Franklin went off the board, Baker went off the board in terms of wide receivers. I didn't know at the end because there went up to 100 picks. But I do believe they're going to take a wide receiver. I think they're going to take a running back at some point in this draft. Um, and I think they may take a flyer on a pass rusher too. You know,
Why not?
yeah. So usually at this point, you're still going for, you're going around 4. It sort of starts changing. 4 and 5 to me are more about players you certainly have an idea about. The Flyers come in the 6th and 7th round, where you take the guy with physical talent, but he's
The
had
upside.
injuries, or you take the guy who's a little bit slower, but he's always made plays, like in whatever it is. You take the wide receiver from the smaller school, Flournoy, the guy they've been talking about. I'm not moving.
No, I know, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at, like, thinking about you talk about in the later rounds,
Right.
6, 7, taking a guy with a tremendous upside, but obviously there's reasons why he did not get drafted earlier. And I just love the mental gymnastics of like, hey, the Chiefs picked up this guy. Could have been a first rounder if he was 2 inches taller and like seconds faster on his 40 and had longer wingspan. Like it's like, you know,
Yes.
you can mental gymnastics your way around like
Yeah.
Chiefs got to steal with this guy, even though every team passed up on him multiple times.
Well, they said the Chiefs took an offensive lineman. They were looking at him in the last round and they got him here. I'm like, okay, so they liked him. And then they thought, well, this is too early to pick this guy. Then when they get him, they go, wow. Once it's all done, we all talk about value. You talk about a million of those things. But once it's all done, it's a guy on your team, on your roster. Can he play? Can he not play? That's why no one cares now what Matt Milano was in the 5th round.
Yeah,
They don't.
because he can play.
So
Well, I was getting very antsy going to Buffalo today because I was like, Josh Allen is a Lamborghini of a quarterback. Do not surround him with Subaru Outbacks. Don't wait till later on.
who's the Subaru driver on the Bills?
Khalil Shakir drives a Subaru,
Um,
which they're very dependable cars. I had them. They're
yeah,
great. They're just not like,
our TV station's cars are Subarus.
yeah, they're just not like, you know,
They have like a billion miles on them.
they
Um, and wide receiver, I wanted to say 128 was where Gabe Davis was picked in the 4th round.
and the Bills have a 128 yet again this year.
Yes, but they took a wide receiver today at 33. 128 was the highest the highest pick they've ever used in the Bean McDermott era on a wide receiver.
That is interesting.
So I look at that and I go, I'm going to do a little research on this. I'm going to do some research. I want to look.
You
I took
always
the wrong
take the
camera.
wrong camera.
I am going to do some research and I am going to look up the teams around the league and say, how many of them have taken a wide receiver in the 1st or 2nd round over the past 7 years? I
I would
think
say there's a lot.
I think if you include the 3rd round, I bet you it is 90%.
That's what I was thinking in my own head.
And the Bills they've only taken 1 in the 4th round.
It's pretty incredible when you think about it.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, they did.
they traded for Diggs.
Yeah, I
I
think that's an
understand that.
important
But I'm
caveat.
talking about that is where you're using a number 1 pick on an established player. I'm talking about saying, and everybody's been telling me that the Chiefs have failed in picking receivers. You're not wrong. Like, they have not done a great job of picking wide receivers. They keep drafting wide receivers.
Yeah.
They keep bringing them in, you know? And I don't know if Worthy's gonna work out, but they keep giving Mahomes weapons, or
I
at least trying to.
I did think it was interesting when the Bills flip-flop from 33 to or no, 32 to 33, only because with them taking a wide receiver, especially for if
Right.
Keon Coleman is that guy and pans out and all that stuff, with it not being the 5th year. If he is a first round guy, the 5th year option, and that to me is future Brandon Bean
Yeah.
problem,
But, you
but
know, it's
I
it
did think that was interesting.
but what's interesting about that position in some cases is that teams are like Devontae Smith signed that deal after 3 years. They came up with it. Or you do what they did with some other guys where you pick up the 5th year pick well, they did with him too, technically picked it up, but you wait it out. Sometimes when you wait it out, you end up paying more because you pick up the 5th year option, then maybe you have to put the franchise tag on them. I'm still curious as what's gonna happen with the Niners and the Bengals with
T.
Higgins,
Higgins, Brandon Ayuk,
Ayuk,
yeah,
Debo,
Debo.
um, and what they end up doing. But I think those guys could still get traded, but it's weird after the draft. It's weird because now if you say we're going to trade these guys, like what are you trading for? Next year draft picks? I guess some teams may do that, but it's an expensive proposition. If you trade for Brandon Ayuk, you're going to pay him.
Mhm.
So I honestly think there's a better shot at a team like the Patriots. They don't spend any money making it, giving up a pick for next year and going. I'm not saying they're getting Ayuk. I'm saying maybe Debo. I'm saying is because they've got the cap space, they've got the young quarterback.
Wanna surround him with
Yeah.
weapons
Can
and
I say what I want to say?
what?
Drake May
What?
got a punchable face. He might be like the nicest kid in the
He
world.
might be. Dan said he was dressed like a groomsman.
he might
I
be.
thought that was kinda
He
funny.
might be a great hardworking kid. It was funny. Belichick was asked about him, and he
Yes.
said,
That's the
"Oh,
most
he's
I've really heard him talk.
Belichick's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, I
He's
mean,
good at
yeah.
that." But he was like, "Hey," he compares himself to Josh Allen. He didn't say like, "Good luck with that," but he was like, "Yeah, we'll see," like that,
I mean, that is
because
pretty wild.
obviously Belichick was very respectful of Josh Allen as a talent when he put the perfect game up against him. But anyhow, that was just funny. That's just my take on Drake May. New England looks like they've done a few smart things. They're trying to surround him. They brought in some players, but Jets took an offensive lineman. Like, I always hate when the dumb teams start doing smart stuff.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sad to see. You're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you can't be a punchline anymore." They probably said that about the
God,
Bills.
even the Cowboys made a couple smart plays.
I was
I
thinking about, like, the reaction of Josh Allen being drafted by Buffalo and how much of a punchline that was back in 2018. Remember everyone was like, "They
yeah.
took the wrong Josh," myself included. Hand up. We see how that we saw how that went.
Josh Rosen's available. Anyhow. All right. Punchy.
Punchy.
Can
Please
I
be
move? I got to get out of this chair.
I wanna go home.
I'm in the Dan
Um,
chair.
please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I don't think we said that. Oh,
No.
can I just say real quick before we go?
Mhm.
So in the Bills media room, all the reporters are there when we wait for Brandon Bean and whoever comes out. And today I had to do like my thing on camera in front of everyone. And it
Oh, you
was
must have hated that.
I stood there for probably, I'm not kidding you, 5 minutes. It's just like, just get it over with, Jenna. Just get it over with. And I was just like, the Bills drafted Keon. It was not great. I hate that. It's so embarrassing.
Why do you care?
'Cause it just makes me anxious. 'Cause it's like public speaking, but not really, but it's still like public speaking, which people think because of our
Shh, shh,
job.
shh. She's better than all of them.
Okay, that's just not true. It's just not true. But you know how it's like, I don't know, it's like public speaking, but I think sometimes people think we enjoy public speaking because of our job.
I like public speaking. I talk all the time.
Your initials are MC. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course you're good at that. You can do a great auction.
I'm an auctioneer. I told my wife, I said, I have a skill that will cost us more time away on the weekends, and I get no money for it, but it's good. I bring in a lot of money on an auction.
Yeah. You do
Yeah,
a good job for charity.
yeah, yeah,
I guess that's a good reason.
yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. Got a
All right,
big one
we should
coming up.
I was gonna say we should go because no one cares.
Yeah,
Please
they
be
care.
sure, like, comment, subscribe, and share. For Dan, who's not here, Michael, I'm Jenna. We'll catch you next time here on Buffalo Plus. So the Bills, 7 picks tomorrow.
Yeah,
We'll have our draft recap of everything.
you got it.
I really hope this has audio.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.